car. In the case of an emergency, there's an intercom system located to the left of the door behind you, and you can use that to retrieve. And just like that, folks, we have now been transported over 7,000 miles to the wildlands of Asia, and we are being greeted by some of our factory in here. If you look towards the middle of the meadow, folks, those large champagne-colored deer are known as the factory deer. They were thought to be extinct in the wild, however, were spotted again in Afghanistan after 40 years by some of our field researchers. And now we have a message about this meadow from Michelle, one of the keepers here at Wild Asia.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I'm part of the Wild Asia Keeper team. We call this area Kanha Meadow, where we care for about 40 Barasingha deer, 15 axis deer, 10 black buck, and a pair of muntjac. We start our day by checking on all the animals, making sure they are healthy, behaving normally, and safe. Sometimes, fawns and calves are born overnight. Newborns are given a neonatal exam, which includes weighing, vaccination, and tagging for identification purposes. While the animals are in the meadow, we prepare their nighttime holding areas so that they have a safe and clean place to spend the night.
Once we get to the back half of this meadow, folks, in around 8 minutes, you'll be able to see a bit more of our deer and exposed species. However, in the meantime, I have a WCS conservation story, and I hope that you all enjoy.
Farmers in Indonesia live closely with wild animals, like elephants, which we will see shortly. WCS field staff work with local leaders and farmers in Indonesia to come up with the Crop Protection Unit. This unit created many different ways for farming to continue in close proximity of wild animals. One strategy was to soak ropes in chili powder and place them around the crops. Elephants do not like chili and leave the farms alone, allowing the farmer and the animals to share the habitat peacefully.
We all know that a species that is extinct no longer exists, just like the dodo. This next animal is on the verge of extinction in the wild and was only able to be found in North American and Asian zoos. Out in front of us today, folks, we have the Mongolian wild horses, also known as the Przewalski horses. Here at the Bronx Zoo, we received our first Mongolian wild horses in 1902, and since then we've had over 50 foals born right here. In our herd today, we have 3 foals. 2 of them are a bit older, about a year old at this time. There's 1 male and 1 female. And the third foal, he is right back there, folks. He's only a month old, and his name is Kyle. All 3 of our foals have the same father. He's right back there, folks. You might be able to see him. He has a larger mane than the rest of them. His name is Otto, and he is the only mature breeding male in our herd. If you guys got a good look at our Mongolian wild horses, you might be able to tell some differences between them and the domestic horses that we know and love. Mongolian wild horses have shorter legs, a stockier build, and erect mane, and they are missing their forelock, which is a piece of hair that drapes over their forehead. And for you now, folks, I have a message from Jonathan Slatt, one of the field researchers working on the reintroduction of these animals back into the wild, and he is here to tell you more about that process.
I'm Jonathan Slatt, and I'm the Russia and Northeast Asia coordinator for the Wildlife Conservation Society. I believe that wildlife has a place on this earth, and my job is to find practical solutions that allow people and wildlife to thrive together. Przewalski's horse went extinct in the wild in the 1960s, and on a recent trip to Kazakhstan, I thought about the ongoing and successful efforts in that country to bring these horses back to the Central Asian steppe. The world needs happy stories to watch the impossible become possible and to see hope restored. That's what's happening today in Przewalski's horse.
Once we reach the top of this hill, folks, we'll be on the lookout for another herd of animals. Out first today, we have the world's largest wild cattle, also known as the Kiawer. At earlier times in the day, they like to hang out right here in this part of the meadow. However, they have moved towards the back at this time. We'll catch up to them in just a few moments. You might even be able to spot them at this time. Like I said, the Kiawer are the world's largest wild cattle. The males can stand as tall as 6 feet, be as long as 10 feet, and they can weigh up to 2,000 pounds, which is the equivalent to a small car. If you'd like to tell the difference between a male and female cow, you can take a is Trixie. Between their large size and impressive horns, the Gower have been known to fight off just about anything in the wild, including tigers. The biggest threat the Gower face is actually overfarming of their natural areas, as well as diseases that they may catch from domestic cattle. Now for your folks, I have a message from Dave, one of the keepers here at Wild Asia, who worked on the reintroduction of these animals. The repopulation of the Gower herd.
Hi, I'm Dave, a wild animal keeper here in Wild Asia. When the Bronx Zoo received 2 female and 1 male Gower from the San Diego Zoo, it took a couple of introductions before all the animals were comfortable. But after a little bit of time, the 3 new animals fully integrated into the herd, and we have the family that you see today. A family group of Gower can consist of up to 40 individuals and is typically led by an older adult female called the matriarch. Since the 2 females and 1 male have been added to this family, there have been a number of offspring. This is important because Gower are considered to be a vulnerable species, so it's vital to maintain a healthy growing herd here at the zoo.
At this time, folks, I must remind you that it is very important to remain seated, as you would not like to fall into this next enclosure. We're now on the lookout for a tiger. And now for us today, we have our 10-year-old male Siberian or Amur tiger, and his name is Anakin. And as we will spot him, he is walking towards the front of the meadow. In the wild, tigers are solitary creatures, which means that they like to live alone. And they could be highly territorial, which is why you'll only spot one out at a time here at the Bronx Zoo. The tiger's diet consists of wild pig and deer, and they've been known to gorge themselves on a meal of the size of 40 pounds of meat in just one sitting. That's the equivalent to 160 hamburgers, and I don't know about you folks, but I cannot eat that many at just one time. If you'd like to spot more of our tigers here at the Bronx Zoo, you can visit them at Tiger Mountain. Now folks, we're passing over the back half of the Gower Meadow, and you can get a good look at their true size at this time. As you can see, they're right there at the top of this hill, but they're starting to migrate right down it and will stand against this fence line. Now we are entering the back half of that first meadow where we saw our Bactrian deer. Right in front of us, these large orange deer, folks, are some of our Barasinga deer. Barasinga get their names because in Hindi the word Barasinga means 12 times, and the males have about 12 to 14 points on each of their antlers. Here you guys see these small honey brown coated animals with the white bellies. Those are our black buck antelopes. Black buck antelopes are sexually dimorphic, and all that means, folks, is that the males and the females look different from one another. Blends in well with the muddy environment that it likes to call home. If you spot what looks like a pig with tufts erupting from its snout and curving backwards towards its eyes, you'll be on the lookout for a babirusa. In this first meadow, folks, we have our 2 adult females. They're a bit hard to spot on my last go around, so we can see if we try to see them today. And in this second meadow, we have our 3 little piggies. There are 2 males and 1 female, though it might be a bit hard to tell the difference between them at the time, as the male's tusks have not yet fully grown in. In the wild, a male babirusa will use its tusks to attract a female mate. And if you weren't able to spot that last animal, folks, do not worry, you cannot miss this next one. Out in front of us, we have the world's largest land mammal, also known as the Asian elephant. The Asian elephant out in front of us is one of our 2 female Asian elephants here at the Bronx Zoo, and her name is Patty. Can we all say hi, Patty? Hi, Patty. Look at that, folks, she is waving back at us. The first thing you'll notice about Patty is her large size. Asian elephants can get as big as 10,000 pounds, which means that they need to eat lots of vegetation to remain healthy. Here at the Bronx Zoo, our elephants eat about 200 pounds of hay each day and drink up to 60 gallons of water. Another thing you'll notice about Patty is her trunk. An elephant's trunk is a very useful tool. They have about 40,000 muscles in them, and that is more than the human body alone. In addition to that, she has a finger-like adaptation located at the tip of her trunk that she uses to pick up delicate objects, such as a singular blade of grass or an egg without cracking it. As we say goodbye to Patty, we'll be saying hello to another large land mammal. If you spot an animal that weighs roughly 3,500 pounds, looks to be armor-plated, and has a horn on the front of its face, you have spotted a greater one-horned rhinoceros. Right out in front of us, folks, we have Penny, one of our greater one-horned rhinoceroses here at the Bronx Zoo. As you can see, Penny is right down there in her mud wallow. She's not there because she wants to be, folks. She's there because she has to be. Rhinos have highly sensitive skin, and in order to protect themselves from the sun and from insects, they need to coat themselves in mud. Greater one-horned rhinoceroses are highly endangered, and here at the Bronx Zoo, we actually care for 5 of them. We've also had 14 calves born right here, and although 14 might sound like a small number, it is actually a huge success in the breeding process of greater one-horned rhinos. A female rhinoceros will stay pregnant for about 16 months, and she'll give birth to a baby that weighs over 100 pounds. That baby will stay with its mother for about 2 to 3 years, although the weaning process only takes about 12 to 14 months. Once we get to the other side of this wooded area, folks will be able to spot the first mud wallow made here at the Wild Asian monorail. It is right out in front of us. It wasn't always this large, folks. It was actually made larger over time with the rhinoceroses stomping through it. In the wild, when it rains, a rhino will stomp through their mud wallow in order to increase its size, just like they've done so right there. And now I have a message from our field researchers who work alongside rhinos, just like we have here at the Wild Asian monorail, and they are here to tell you more about them.
WCS works in the field. The rhinos you see here are Indian rhinos. We work with habitats all over the world that are homes to rhinos. Here's a note from our field